When people start looking at art in the beginning, they want it all to be beautiful. They think art is beautiful. Art is aesthetically pleasing. And I've always felt that way. And they just want to make art look as beautiful as possible. They want to find the most beautiful art. They want to promote the most beautiful art. But then when you get up into the higher levels of collectors, you usually have people who have a substantial amount of money. They can afford beautiful things. They've had beautiful things their whole life. And they found a little bit of a painful emptiness that being surrounded with beautiful things all day long doesn't fill you with everything that humanity needs. And also people with a substantial amount of money have managed to pad themselves from more risk and more pain than, poorer people who have to suffer with, more difficult things like medical bills, sudden emergencies, not being able to afford the food they really want, stuff like that. And not to say that people with money don't suffer also. They could have traumatic things in their lives. They could suffer more than any of us know. But in general, they've managed, a lot of people who are high-end collectors who can afford high-end art also have managed to put a buffer between themselves and a lot of the suffering in life, and also fill their lives with beautiful, beautiful things. And then when they find that that's not 100% fulfilling, you look at the most epic movies, the most epic stories that are all about struggle. They're all about the person who has nothing, battling their demons, battling their insecurities and everything coming against them, getting knocked down till you think they're not going to be able to get back up, somehow finding a way to get back up, somehow fighting through it and getting over to the other side where they see this beautiful, beautiful silver lining, beautiful reward on the other side of all that struggle that makes it so much more deliciously worth it for you, the viewer, and them, the protagonist, because they suffered so much and they spent a lot of time wondering if they'd ever get there. You spent a lot of time as the viewer or the reader of this story wondering if they'd ever get there. And so the higher end collector thinks it's not just about beauty, it's about ugly too. And they want their art to have some ugliness to it. And that's why you'll see the highest end collectors seek out art that's not necessarily aesthetically pleasing, or could be a mixture of aesthetically pleasing and ugly, gross, nasty, jarring, something grabbing your senses and saying, oh, that doesn't look like something that makes me all feel all fluffy and light. Because to them, fluffy and light is shallow. They've done the happy, they've done the pretty, they've done the beautiful, they've done the life surrounded with crystals and rainbows, and now they want to dig into the dirt a little bit. They want to find that artist with the story of struggle, and they want to find what kind of pain is put on the canvas, what kind of dark colors and scary shapes and weird things that don't fit together, things that don't seem to work. And that's where you get this stuff where you think like, oh, a child could do that. Well, some of it's true. A child could. But like Picasso said, you spend the first half of your life trying to be an adult, and then you spend the second half of your life trying to be a child again. And so you're trying to get back to that root of that primal, raw emotion that you're putting on the canvas. Doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter if it's temper tantrum, furious. That's what collectors are looking for in a piece of art. And maybe they can't always describe it. Maybe it's so intuitive, innate, and they don't necessarily, person per person, have the best eloquence to describe it, but they know it when they see it. And I feel like sometimes you have people studying art and drawing and doing art their whole lives, and most good artists do, but other times you have people who just struggled and went through painful things, and sometimes the pain on the canvas, or the struggle, or the, not just the negative, but the meandering your way through a hellish time and looking desperately for that light, little crack of light through all the deep, dark, gray, heavy walls, trying to find that little inner peace to capture that moment on the canvas, not the moment where they arrive and discover all the goodness, the moment of the struggle where they're in the midst of it and they see the hope, but it's so small. It's a little crack in the wall with the sunlight shining through, but so small of a chance will they ever be able to break through all those walls. That's what the collectors want to put on their walls, is the story of that struggle, so they can live through that every time they look at that piece.